Hey, mamas. Okay, so one of the things I was thinking about recently is that I will often talk about brain changes, I'll talk about body changes, emotional changes that happen during pregnancy, and then maybe in those first few years after having a baby. One of the things that I think that is also really important to talk about though is like as our kids get older, there's other things that come in, right, to our life, other emotions, other feelings, other things that we can shame, blame, and criticize ourselves about. And one of the things I think about is mom guilt. If you have ever felt not enough, if you've ever struggled thinking that you could have done better, if you've ever thought I should have done it this way instead, welcome, mama, to mama guilt. So if this is your first time here, let me introduce myself first. My name is Dr. Piper Grant. I am a licensed clinical psychologist. I am a mama of two, and I am the founder of Born into Motherhood. I really use this space to try and highlight the struggles and also the joys of motherhood, and with offering education and science and also some like anecdotes about life and things that I see in my clinical practice to help us all do better, I guess, in mothering. It's not even that, to help us like feel better in mothering. That's really what it's about, to just feel validated and normalized in our experience. And today, I think we got to talk about mom guilt because it's something that I still struggle with. I mean, even right now, here I am recording this and my kids are out playing soccer. And I'm thinking, oh, I really want to record this, but I would really like to go see them play and be at their practice. And that struggle is really difficult for me at times. Other times feels totally fine. I'm like, all good. There are other times that it really gets to me. So let's talk about like actually today, what is mom guilt? What are the different types of mom guilt? How does it really hinder us? And then what we can actually do about it. So here's the thing about mom guilt. Mom guilt is really the I could have, the should haves, the would haves, I could have done it better. It's that feeling of not enough. And sometimes it's extreme, sometimes it's little, it can come up in different ways. It can kind of manifest either in thoughts or also then translate into actions that we do to try and compensate. But if you've ever really been honest with somebody about your mom guilt, typically other moms experience it too. And it's really that feeling of, coulda, shoulda, woulda done it differently or can do it differently. And the thing that I like to say is it's completely normal. It's very common. I don't know, amongst my friends, we talk about our mom guilt and we really like joke about the mom guilt. And at the same time, I don't think that all that happens for everybody. I really like to be open in my friendships, especially with other moms, about where my struggles are, because I think it allows it to be okay to talk about both the good and also the bad. I think also talking about the good is just as important, right? To be able to like relish in all of the good. But when we talk about mom guilt, I think there's a few things that come up, some conflicts that come up, because often mom guilt comes out of a conflict of either putting ourselves first as the mom or doing something that prioritizes the mom versus prioritizing something for the kids. So let's talk about the different types of mom guilt, because when I first really identified and recognized different types of mom guilt, it actually helped me to be able to be like, okay, right now I'm stuck in a comparison trap. That's what it's doing. Or right now I'm kind of in this war between work and children. Or now I'm like in this like conflict of self-care versus childcare. So let's talk about the different types, because I think it can also help you, maybe, hopefully, figure out for yourself if there's some mom guilt, where it is. And then if you can figure out where it is, we can better manage it. So when I think about the different types of mom guilt, one thing that strikes me is that there's often a tie to messaging around something. So we're going to talk about the different types. But when you identify your own types of mom guilt, really think about what is the messaging behind that. I think social media fuels it a lot. I think that there's a lot of myths around motherhood that fuel it a lot. And so typically when we start unpacking why there is a guilt, we find that there's actually some narratives underneath it or beliefs that might not be serving us. So one of the first motherhood guilts that I find very common is a comparison trap. A comparison trap actually commonly comes up in Instagram, or social media, or with other mothers that somebody might know, like either close and or just from a distance. And the comparison trap is I compare myself as a mom to somebody else. whether I know them closely or through social media or from afar. I can get stuck in this. This is the one that this is one of them that I can get stuck in really easily. So I've been stuck in all of them, you guys. I've been stuck in the comparison trap of early days looking at Instagram and seeing all these like beautiful snack boxes. I have a friend, I would message her about it. And I would see these beautiful snack boxes that moms would like pack for their kids. And I loved them. I loved the aesthetic of them and everything. But like, I just couldn't do that. Like I would try, I actually tried, but it just never quote unquote got to the level of like that I saw on social media. And I would get in this comparison trap. I would feel guilty that I wasn't making my snack boxes as cute or as like, I don't know, with little eyeballs coming out of fruit-shaped ladybugs or something of the sort. I've also trapped myself in, actually a lot of my stuff is around cooking too, because I'm just like not a good cook. So, you know, not making these like lavish, like at-home pasta sauces for my children. Maybe taking my kids on certain trips. I don't know. There just can be it's like an abundance. Like whatever you want to see that somebody else is doing or you think they're doing in their mothering, and then comparing yourself. I compare myself. This actually leads into the next one. So the next comparison is between stay-at-home mom and working mom. And this guilt comes in both sides, right? And what happens is that for a working mom, she might feel guilty that she's not a stay-at-home mom, and stay-at-home moms might feel guilty that she's not a working mom. And how we justify it on both sides, right? The working mom, and this is like kind of just simplifying it, but the working mom might just come up with her own like narratives around, I'm not as present with my child. I don't get to be there as much for pickup. I don't get to see all the activities. I don't get to see my kids as much. They don't get to see me as much, blah, 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 right? The stay-at-home mom might come up with some narratives around, I don't get to be an example for my children of seeing like their mom work. I don't get to make my own money. I don't like all of these. I don't get to have this sense of independence. Like all of these things that we just make them up in our head in order to guilt ourselves. And again, there's some belief systems perhaps underneath there or some narratives underneath there. The other one is a self-care guilt. So I see this happen when moms are really doing something that prioritizes, I feel like even says puts it over, like centers something that brings them joy or makes them feel good or makes them feel whole and connected. And that could be anything. That could be from working out. That could be from going out and seeing friends. That could be from just reading a book silently in a corner for a while. Anything that feels like self-care, whatever that is and how you define it, moms can feel guilty about prioritizing themselves and putting themselves in the center, essentially, and making that something that is important to them. And there can be this guilt of like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm like getting a manicure, but I should be spending time with my children, or I'm sitting out here with my friends, but I should be spending time with my kids, or whatever it is. I'm going to yoga and instead I should be like picking up my children from school. This is relentless often in women. And then the last one that I often see is, I had to write my notes because I was like, I know I'm going to forget the last one, is actually the guilt over losing patience and having low energy. It's interesting that this is the one that I forgot about because this is also, basically I've struggled with every single one of these. So you can just like see that I've actually experienced every single one of them. I actually remember this was a big one for me. Really not early postpartum days after my second, but kind of more when she was maybe 2. And I was just exhausted. It was the pandemic and oh my God, I can feel me somatically just kind of in shock. I was just tired, you guys. I was overwhelmed with a lot of things happening in life. There was a lot of transitions happening. And I remember just being like, I have low energy. And what happened is I started saying, I'm tired all the time. And my children started saying it back to me. And then I remember my daughter drew this picture and it was of me. Everybody in the family is there. It's like kind of funny now, but everyone's in the family there and I'm laying down. I look dead, by the way, in this drawing. And it's because I was just tired all the time. And I felt guilty about that because I didn't have a lot of energy at the time. I also look, I probably had a lot of nutrition deficiencies going on, like everything. Let's just say there was just like a whole bunch happening. But I would feel guilty. And I remember my partner, he would say to me like, babe, you're like saying you're tired all the time. I'm like, well, yeah, because I am tired all the time. Also, the losing patience is another one that comes up for a lot of moms, whether that is because they are tired that they lose their patience or because of other things that are happening in their life, the stress, the burdens of just living in this world sometimes and existing. It can be really difficult. And so when a mom loses her patience or isn't as chill and cool, as calm as she usually is, there can be a lot of guilt. I think this comes up for a lot of parents, an immense guilt that comes up after we lose our cool. That one like stings too when that happens because you're just like, damn, like, ugh, that's not how I wanted to respond. I know I can do better. And I was either tired, stressed, or just whatever. I wasn't present with really like trying to regulate my body. So these are all the guilts that we can really judge ourselves on, criticize ourselves on, and like pull ourselves down as like failures and we could have done better. Now, what should we do about it? Okay, so now we've identified them. Let's talk about what we can actually do about it. So how do we let go of mom guilt? I think this is kind of the biggest question, and yet it's going to sound so easy to answer. We've identified all of the different mom guilts, but it's like, what do we do about it? I think first and foremost, just remind yourself you are enough. You're doing enough and you're doing okay. You are a perfectly imperfect mom. That's enough. And you're doing a good job at that. The second thing is, I think, talk to other moms. Again, you'll hear me say it time and time again. I think when we talk honestly and openly, it actually encourages other people to talk honestly and openly and find other moms that, I'm not saying you need to dig in the trenches together of like, oh my God, my guilt, and like feed it to each other, but to help normalize like, oh, this is like really hard as well. I remember like being like upset because I didn't respond to my eldest daughter in the way that I would have liked to. And in my mind, I like was very short with her and I felt really upset about it. Like I totally guilted myself about it. And I had called a girlfriend later in the evening and, it was just so nice. Like she was so validating about it. Like, yeah, I understand that's hard. She wasn't dismissive. And also she was like, that happens to me. Like it definitely happens to me. And it feels shitty. So talk to other moms and find a way to like have conversations in which it feels like normalized. Not that we want to get bogged down in it, but normalize it. And then also challenge the guilt. I think this is like a really important one, is that because the guilt is there doesn't mean it's facts. Because the guilt is there doesn't mean you're not enough. Because the guilt is there, it doesn't mean it's wrong. So for instance, if I feel guilty about going and getting a pedicure, it doesn't mean it's wrong that I'm getting a pedicure. If I feel guilty about being a working mom, it doesn't mean I'm bad for being a working mom. So you need to challenge, well, you don't need to do anything, but I would encourage you to challenge the guilt. Really ask yourself, like if I love the idea of like how we like invoke compassion, the compassionate voice is like, ask yourself, if a friend said this to me, what would I say back to them? Right? If a friend said to me, man, I'm just feeling so guilty because today I had to work like extra hours and it just sucked because I didn't see my kids. You would not say to your friend, that's right, you are a terrible mom. You would say, babe, it's one time. You're there all the other days in the evening for dinner. And this is like a one big case that you've got to work on. And so understandably, right? You have compassion for them. These three things sound really simple. I think though it can be difficult. Talk to other moms, challenge it, and remind yourself you are enough. Thank you for joining me. If you've made it to the end of this, I make up something resonated for you. You are in a season that maybe this is feeling like it's really there and present for you. So I hope you find your space to do all the things and look at all the things that we talked about today. If you like this, if this resonated with you, like, subscribe, follow, do all the stuff, and I will see you again. Thank you.